Welcome to the channel. It's time for another fragrance review. The fragrance that I'm reviewing is Good Life by Zino Davidoff. This right here is a discontinued fragrance. You could still get it online, but they're asking for like really ridiculously, exorbitantly high prices for this thing. To me, ridiculously expensive is like $200-300 per bottle if you want to get one that's unused. But it's still available online, but it's really expensive because it is discontinued and it seems to have a cult following amongst many frag heads. So what I'm going to do is I want to give it a nice proper review and see if it's really worth all that. So I want to give it a nice healthy spray. Okay, my initial impressions: citrus, a different fruity vibe, but that's not as pungent as a citrus, and it's not like a pineapple, but it's more like a kiwi maybe. No, not kiwi, but it's got a fruity opening. Just put it to you that way. It smells like it'll be a really good summertime scent, and it's like late, actually early fall right now, so it's almost October, but the weather is unseasonably warm, so today is a nice day to wear this. It's got a fresh, uplifting vibe, just like the name Good Life implies. It makes you think of the good life. I get lavender, I think, but it's not a strong lavender. Well, right now I'm just getting a blast of citrus, and we'll see how it dries down. In my experience, citrus notes usually don't last very long, but we'll see how this one does. But I gave it a nice, good, healthy bunch of sprays, so I'm gonna let it dry down and report back later on tonight. Before I give you my final take on this Davidoff Good Life cologne, I want to read a few of these reviews on Fragrantica. Beautifully constructed notes providing a gate of quiet, sunny, and relaxing spring and summer day. Another masterpiece gone down the drain because it's been discontinued, says CGV. Masterpiece. I miss that fragrance so much. So depressing. They went and created a wonderful work of art, then discontinued it. It goes on and on. I really miss this scent. Fantastic juice. Well, this scent seems to be getting quite a lot of love on Fragrantica. Davidoff Good Life, in my opinion, is a below average cologne. And what kills it is its performance. As soon as you spray it, within 5 minutes, it's a skin scent. It has no sillage at all. At the opening is very fruity and citrusy, and it smells pleasant, don't get me wrong, and it's got lavender and some musk. It reminds me a lot of a Cuba scent, which I'll get to in a bit, but it's not a masterpiece. It's not even average, it's below average. As far as the performance goes, within 20 minutes most of the citrus has died down, and what you're left with is just lavender. And I like lavender. I'm not complaining. It's decent, but there's no performance coming out of it at all. So, that being said, as I was wearing it, I was like, wow, this smells very similar to one of my Cuba fragrances, and I didn't know which one. So I went back to all my Cuba fragrances, and I started sniffing them, and I've decided that this is the one that it smells like. Prestige Platinum. Cuba Prestige Platinum. If you're a fan of Davidoff Good Life, this is almost an exact replica. It starts off with the citrus, and then it ends up with that lavender, and it's just like it. Actually, this Cuba version is stronger, has better sillage, has better performance than the Davidoff version. So trust me when I say this. If you like that scent, and you can't do without it, and you're depressed because it's not around anymore, this is just like it, even better performing. For this smaller bottle, which is 1.17, 35 ml, is probably about $7, maybe $6. You can get the 3.4 ounce for like $10. I'd like to talk to those of you who gave the positive reviews on this Davidoff Good Life. I know it's nostalgic. There's a lot of nostalgia involved because it was released in 1998. So you figure I was about 19 years ago. So somebody who was wearing this back then and was like 22 years old is now like 40. So it takes you back, it takes you back to that time when you were young, you were virile, you were strong, you don't have any aches and pains, you had a full head of hair, no grays. There were good times, man. You had a couple girlfriends, you could bust 3 nuts in a night, wake up in the morning, bust another 2 nuts without even flinching. Those are good times, man. But sometimes you just gotta let go, man. You gotta move on. Because if you live in the past, man, you're sabotaging your future, because your best days could still very well be ahead of you, man. I never wore Davidoff Good Life when I was younger, but I have the same feelings towards like a Drakkar Noir, because that reminds me of like high school, and it's very nostalgic, and I could never give Drakkar Noir a bad review. I can't give it a bad review because it brings me back to those days and the careless, carefree times of your high school days, and everything was cool and the future was full of hope and everything was great and you felt great. The sunshine was brighter, the air smelled fresher, you just had all this energy, and the world was just a wonderful place when you're like 18 years old. Or like Escape by Calvin Klein for men. Escape for Men. That's another fragrance that I can't give a bad review. It may not be the greatest fragrance, but to my nose, it brings me back to spring break. Went down to spring break with a bunch of guys. We had a blast for a week. And only one of us brought any kind of cologne. It was a bottle of Escape for Men by Calvin Klein. And what we did was we basically killed that entire bottle. There was a whole bunch of guys, and we were like, you know what? We want to smell nice, and we just killed this one guy's bottle, and we wore it. We just wore it all week long. And the memories that are attached to that Escape from Calvin Klein, it just really brings me back to a time where, there was that carefree, wonderful world when you're younger. I wouldn't pay $300 for a bottle of Escape. If I caught it on sale, I might buy it and just spray it once in a while to reminisce, but you can't live in the past, man. You can't. Sometimes you gotta let go. Anyone who's worn any cologne in their youth has a soft spot for that cologne. Go online, go to the mall, wherever you buy your fragrances. My advice to you is to just buy whatever's in style now, use that, and forge some new memories, man. You can't live in the past. Forge some new memories. Your best days are still ahead of you, bro.